I am going to look up dictionary.com. Are you ready? Are you ready?
Got my water. Do you have your water?
I have my water.
Okay. You look very glamorous. I'm feeling collegial in a t-shirt. You look very glamorous. What is frumious? What is frumious? I don't know what that means.
Before.
Do you want, should we have a moment of guessing what we think it means?
Oh, I'm sorry. I already opened it.
Oh, very angry.
I guess it's furious.
Furious and what is the term?
But there's
fuming.
Fuming.
And furious.
Furious. I mean, it doesn't line up with being furious. It's frumious.
It sounds like you're so, like, I'm so angry and I'm eating and I'm trying to tell you that I'm fruitive right now.
The origin is one of Lewis Carroll's whimsical creations appearing in his nonsense poem.
And it is a blend of fuming and furious.
What? Did you look this up ahead of time?
I didn't. Oh, it's in the Jabberwocky.
Yeah.
The jaws that bite, the claws that catch, beware the jub bird and shun the frumious bandersnatch.
Okay. Frumious.
Frumious.
And here, I'm going to give us 30 minutes. No.
I would just tell the listening audience, we cheat on the 30 seconds.
We totally cheat. It takes us days and days to come up with stories. Okay. So here it is. Okay. I'll give us 2 minutes for frumious.
Okay.
What do you think?
I have 6. I don't know if I'm going to tell any of them, but I have 6.
Well, then I've got a couple, so we're ready.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you think, Kit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good. Let me make sure that's off. Okay. Well, since you outnumber me, why don't you start us off?
I'm trying to think if I want to tell a story when I was frumious or when somebody else was frumious. Right. Which one should I tell first?
Which feels like the most embarrassing?
Oh, these both are. I'll tell that second one when somebody was frumious. It's high school.
Yeah.
My friend, I'm going to leave names out. My friend's older sibling got married and they had some extra wine left over. So there was a little period in high school when we all tried to get drunk a lot.
Yeah.
And always the question was, where could we get it? She had access to some
your friend
leftover alcohol. So she brings it over to my other friend's house where he and I were already trying to think where we could score. And we get this bottle of wine between the 3 of us and it tastes horrible. But another friend of his says, I scored some pot.
Oh.
We were scared. I didn't know what to do. Somebody brought over a can, we had a can and we dumped that out. They made a bong out of it. We put the pot over it and we're in the backyard kind of going, I don't know if anything's happening. I have no idea what we're doing. And all of a sudden, my friend's mom comes home early and says, what is this doing in the sink? And we walk in and we had left the bottle of wine. I'm in high school.
Yeah.
We left the bottle of wine sitting there in the sink. Like one would have thought we would have not hidden it. But I think we were so nervous about the pot.
Well, that you would have hidden it. Is that what you mean?
We would have hidden it.
Right.
Well, like, why didn't we?
But the pot was more intense. So you thought, oh, we forgot about the wine.
And I'm even thinking right now, like, I don't know if that second part of the pot story ever got out to my friend's mom. And here we are recording it, but I'm 52.
And we don't know any names. It will be so unclear who we're talking about.
And it's interesting. maybe not really frumious. She was more disappointed, but she called us in. I think she even had our friend, the wine bringer, leave, and she called her son and me in, and she said, "What is that?" And I just, if I could have liquefied, or I felt like I was liquefying in shame.
Oh no.
And just because I really loved her and she was very nice, and I
Yes.
just felt so disappointing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like the look was, I mean, she wasn't fuming as much as she was so disappointed.
Yes. And that kills you so much more than anger does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's
Right. I
more
wonder if he had
personal.
yelled, how
Yeah.
that would have felt differently. And then I left
Right.
and I was in our basement, in where my bedroom was in the basement. I went to bed and my mom was in the backyard with our dog and I heard her scream. And so I opened up the back door to look out, and some dog, I think a big dog had come in the yard and it had scared her. And I shooed the dog off, and mom was fine and went to bed. So the next
This
day,
was the same day
yeah,
you're
after I
trying
left,
to.
because my friend just lived down the street.
Okay, so wait, let me see if I got. So you got the wine, you put it in the sink,
We
you
drank
tried
it.
the bong in the backyard.
Don't know if I
Mom,
got high.
you hid the bong.
Yeah, that never was
That
seen.
was never seen.
And his friend's mom comes home.
Disappointed, you liquefy, you go home. Your mom screams.
I open the door to
Open
see
the
what's
door.
going on.
Yeah,
Yeah. Then I go to bed.
but go back to bed. Okay.
So the next day,
Yeah.
that friend's mom calls my mom to tell her what happened.
No.
But oddly enough, this is how it's so strange. Had
Yeah.
we not left that bottle of wine in the sink,
Yeah.
and my friend's mom would have known about it, had she not found out about it, my mom smelled it on me when I came out to help her. We were just bound to be caught that night.
She smelled the wine on you?
Yeah.
So you'd had wine too.
Oh yeah, we drank the bottle and left the empty
Oh,
bottle.
the empty bottle.
That's part of it. That's the non-brilliance of the whole. We just, I'm
Not my
frumious at
brand.
myself. I'm frumious at myself right now. Yeah. So we got caught both sides. So then both of us
Wow.
our parents sat down
And
and
talk to you.
my mom was more frumious later.
She was. Okay. Oh man. Oh my God. We think we're so sneaky.
I know. She's sneaky. So leave the bottle of wine in the sink and then
Breathe on your mother.
breathe on your mom as she's screaming because a big dog has run to the backyard.
Well, I was thinking, what a good boy you were, but you're bombed.
I tried that point and it didn't work.
You what?
I tried that point. Like, hey, mom, as she's mad at me, do you think that, well, I came out to help? She's like, don't break that. She was right.
Using shame and disappointment against you.
I know.
Do you think, here's what I wonder, do you think it had an impact on your drinking or bonging in the future?
Bonging, yes, because I didn't really want to do pot that night anyway. And since that time, I found I do not do well with pot. It does not. No, people seem to be enjoying sunsets and chips and laughing. And I'm like, I'm not sure I exist. I hate it.
My husband has the same like panic attack.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Response.
Because I don't feel like I'm cool. Because the cool people enjoy it. And I'm just like, I keep winking out of existence.
It's not that fun.
It didn't with drinking. I stayed with it it was really my sophomore year in high school till my junior year in college.
Right.
And then I stopped. So it was somewhere in there. My mom and dad even took me aside one time and they were worried that I was being pressured to drink. And they were having a conversation with me about like, make sure you peer pressure. And I'm like, I am leading the You should be having conversations with my friends.
About me.
I was the one that's like, we're getting drunk. Yeah, it's true. I don't know if I told my mom that. There's my story.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. Well, I had one from high school too that I was thinking about. I had It was funny. I was a good kid and a good student right up until about 7th or 8th grade when puberty hits. And then I was not so sure I wanted to please all the authority figures.
Is that when
Right?
that's when it really came in? You're like,
That's when that hit.
oh,
So I was in this, I think it was algebra class in high school. And the teacher, I don't know if they still get away with this, but the math teachers would like sit at the overhead projector
yeah,
and they would put the transparency on the overhead projector and they would just do the math problems on the overhead projector. They
right.
wouldn't talk to you, they wouldn't explain
Oh,
it, they wouldn't, and that's what he did.
that's
They didn't say hello. It was just, here's how you do the math, you know. And I didn't like him.
I need interaction.
I need to know why I'm supposed to learn this
Oh dear.
and how it's useful, you know, and I didn't need a lot. I didn't need a lot. I just needed something. And so I think something happened, like we had a substitute who didn't teach us the thing, but we had a quiz the next day when he was back. And I'd say 70% of us completely bombed the quiz. And I think I was like in the middle. I wasn't completely at the bottom, but it was in the middle. But I was like, I'd had it. I was like, listen. And I was telling him, he's like, what, you all are so stupid or something, you know, I mean, he was not giving us any. And I said, hey,
I've seen that in you.
let me explain to you.
Yes.
So I was trying, look, that, you know, there was a substitute. There's, you know, obviously didn't teach us well because we didn't do well. So I don't think I even finished a couple of sentences before he said, if you say one more word. And I said, what?
You little boundary pusher. Oh,
Oh my God.
you just couldn't, could you?
I
You did say what?
and so out of there. It's the first time I was sent to the principal's office. My parents were called. My father, the military officer, and my mother came to the school to talk to him about me. Oh my God. I mean, so everybody was frumious at this point.
But yeah, the teacher is your parents are, you are.
Everybody's frumious, you know, and we're all feeling. And so I think basically I just put duct tape over my mouth for the rest of the year and just tried to make it, you know.
You know, and what a horrible lesson to have to learn. I have to put up with this injustice because Dickwad is in charge.
You know, to this day, I get so upset by the educational system
Sure.
because it is so authoritarian that the teacher knows better and they run their classroom. And you know, if you're a loving, warm, intelligent person, I'm happy for you to run your own classroom. But to do that kind of authoritative, you know, it just was so fraught with so much else other than teaching math.
It's so punitive and
Yeah, so it's really, now it's really funny, but at the time I mean, my heart was pounding, my blood was rushing. I mean, I knew my entire life was passing before my eyes as he said, if you say one more word. Like I can.
you just did. You got frumious then.
I did. I did. And
So after all the dust settled with your parents and him and everything afterwards, did he seem any different to you? Did he behave differently? Did you behave differently to him?
I think he and I both backed off.
Okay.
We just acted like each other didn't exist. We didn't speak, we didn't interact. because I knew what I knew about him and he knew what he knew about me. And there
Yeah.
was no, and it didn't feel to me like he took, was extra hard on grading me or anything
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
And
Jeez.
luckily the year was, almost over. So there was only a month or two left. How do you negotiate? How do you repair that kind of thing after frumiousness has been reached? It's almost like, you hit the hammer on and it goes ding all the way up at the top.
Right. I
How
was
do
thinking
you?
more like you lift the lid off and the thing explodes and you can't get all the little particles back in.
That's right. That's
You know?
right. Damage has been done
Yeah.
that can't be brought back. And I like what you were saying about like the lesson. Is there a lesson from people being disappointed or from threatening you or
Yeah.
and because that's why punishment is meted out. Just like, I'm disappointed in you, or if you say one more word, there's but does it produce what we're hoping it will produce? Because in my case, no,
It didn't.
it did not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you started leading the charge. Let's drink more.
I know, right. I mean, it certainly gave me pause when I did it, but I just learned to hide it better. That was my lesson.
Right.
You got to hide it.
Right. Exactly right. No,
And I just
you
think I
learn how to
needed to go through
navigate
that.
and negotiate.
Yeah. And then by my junior in college, I'm like, I don't like this being drunk anymore. But I
Yeah.
kind of went through that whole
Experience yourself to learn for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of the things my dad used to say when I was younger, is like, why does every generation have to learn all the lessons the previous generation? Can't they just get it and start on that foundation? No, we all have to learn our own.
Well, I was sure I was unique, and I can look back and go, I wasn't. I mean, even stuff that I go through now, I'm sure 10 years later, I'll look back and go, this is just cyclical, or, I mean, I am unique, but I'm also not that unique.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I'm sure it's only me,
It's right. Exactly. We're on our hero's journey.
I was frumious my sophomore year in high school, but also didn't know how to handle authority with a teacher.
Yeah.
So it was both frumious and worried.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I told you the story. So I'm going to tell it all out with all the swear words and everything.
Okay, good.
And name names, because it should not have gone down this way.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. Kennedy High School, JFK is where I went to high school. I'm a sophomore class vice president. I was a vice
Hot stuff.
Hot stuff. Well, in the moment, what it meant was this thing was going on, and I think I felt that I should probably say something.
Oh, that you had a responsibility.
Right. It didn't feel fun. It felt more like a weight. So we had this teacher. So it was a Catholic high school, and we took this Old Testament Bible class, and this teacher was fantastic. And he told all the dirt. Like he talked about how, like with the Black Plague, all these people died, including great nuns and priests, because they were helping the poor.
Right.
And then those that didn't believe that you should help lived. So there became like the Catholic, the social services part, like a bunch of it died out. And we were like, this is fascinating. And he was engaging, and he got fired. Or I think he got let go. But for whatever reason, and I should find out more of the details of what happened, he had to finish 2 weeks of teaching or finish the semester or something.
Well, was there a difference between fired and let go?
Well, I realize I don't know. All I know is that his job was canceled, but he had to finish the semester. So he went from really being engaging to he gave up.
Right. Why, if this is the reward for being engaging?
Right. So I don't know what I have no idea why. All I know is he went from this really engaging teacher to we would walk in and it went from fun to this.
Yeah.
He'd write the vocabulary words on the chalkboard, and we had to write sentences using the vocabulary words. We were sophomores. This felt like something you do in 4th grade.
Yeah.
And it was so boring. And like, I don't know, it seems like a week or two into it, maybe only 3 days, where we'd all walk in and see the words on the board, and he'd just sit in the back. And we're just supposed to fill in these words. And we're all
Oh,
grumbling to each other. It was so boring. And so I'm thinking, I gotta say something. We're all grumbly. It's
yeah.
just, ugh. So, but I don't know how to address as a 15 or 16-year-old. I don't know how to be direct.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I don't even know if I would have had the authority back then, but imagine saying something like, you know, it used to be a lot more engaging, and this is really kind of boring. Could we do something different? Or, hey, none of that. So
Yeah.
all I
Yeah.
could think of is being passive aggressive. I mean, I didn't think of that as the term, but all I'd ever
That's
seen,
all we got.
that's all I had. So
Yeah.
I was going to say something like, so we talked about the plague, we talked about Gothic churches. So like Gothic cathedral, you know, the style of the architecture where the uplifted roofs have you feel closer to God. We're writing stupid sentences like that. So I was going to say, oh, do you want us to write this? And then give an example that was supposed to sound really mundane and boring. And somehow that would wake him up to the error of his ways.
I see. Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So at the beginning of class, he's talking to somebody, he's bouncing a tennis ball. I raise my hand, but class hadn't started yet.
Okay.
And I was going to give an example of a sentence and just make it sound kind of boring. And then somehow he would say, oh, you're right. I mean,
Let's go. Okay.
So half-assed.
Yeah. Well, but it was a thought.
So I decide the word was bubonic. And he had talked about all the sores that people got and the fevers. And
yeah.
I was going to say,
oh no,
Mr. Brunel, do you want us to say that the bubonic plague is the disease where you get, and then I realized I'd never said this word as an adjective before. I'd only said it as a noun, because he talked about these sores, this black runny stuff. And I, in the moment, had two choices of how to pronounce the word. And I said, do you want us to say that bubonic plague is the disease where you get black pussy? Not pussy. I just had never said pus as an adjective, and I just said it. And everybody shut up in that moment, the way crowds do sometimes.
And they all heard it.
And I was like, oh my fucking God. I just said, do you want us to say it's the disease where you get black pussy? And he goes, he's bouncing a tennis ball, and he goes, what? And I'm like, pussy. I mean, and it was, I think, so vulgar. It was so dead silent. Nobody laughed. No, I think it was so vulgar and unexpected.
Yeah.
And he looks at me. I'm like, pussy. And then I'm like, I got the answer. Thanks. I'm fine. And then I just pretended. And I'm just like dying. And thinking, my mouth is not trustworthy. That's the other thing I thought was like this thing came out of my mouth. Black pussy.
I'll show you, boring class.
I'll show you. I'm gonna. Oh my God. I couldn't look at him. I think it was so vulgar and unexpected that I think everybody thought they misheard.
Yeah, well, if you said pussy after that,
pussy, I thought that pussy.
They were like, oh, okay.
Yeah. We didn't address it. He kept that for the rest of the semester, words on the board. I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to fill out the little.
Oh, honey.
And I think maybe the lesson is I should have gone full Frumious. It was the caution. You know, I'm angry, but I don't know how to do it. So I'm going to tiptoe, but he needs to see the error of his ways. And I just say, pussy. God, I want to die. And go back in time and say, sweetie, maybe don't say it, or we're gonna say it out loud so you hear it's pussy, and you're gonna say that word. I'd never said it.
Well, here's the thing. I hate the word pus.
Oh, yeah, it's not a super fabulous word
And
either.
I also hate the other word. So I pretty much never say either one of them.
That's probably a good. Why didn't I choose the next vocabulary down and say that? Oh, that feeling of like,
Oh, the shame.
oh, and I remember he had a beard and he was bouncing the ball and he just catches it and he goes, what? I'm just like,
well, one of the things that I learned as a high school teacher is to be selectively deaf most of the time.
oh gosh.
There is so much crap going on around you and stuff people are saying and jokes and gossip and all this. If we reacted to everything we hear, there would be nothing else to do. I mean, we couldn't teach, we couldn't. And so it's one of those weird learning how to freeze, right? So you don't have to get frumious.
Just I'm going to pretend that the square sophomore vice president didn't just say that.
Yes.
Unprovoked. I mean, it was because class hadn't started.
Nope. Class hadn't started. I'm not responsible.
Bell hasn't rung.
The bell hasn't rung. I do not have to weigh in.
Oh my! And why did everybody have to shut up right in that
At
moment?
that moment, there's some karmic energetic that everybody quiets down right when you say the worst about that.
It felt like something gave him a blah.
I know. Clearly, you needed an exorcism. Is what needed to happen.
Oh, maybe this is the frumious and shame stories.
You're reminding me of, I had a dream. So Eric and I have been together since 1991. And it's just eons, right? And but every once in a while I will have these dreams. And we had watched, this was a few years ago, we had watched this amazingly interesting documentary on the Black Plague. And I mean, so, what happens to the body and how all the population fell apart and, who was left,
Right.
Kind of runs the world now. And are we happy with that? I love this history I would love to know if he got fired because of the way he was teaching history.
Oh, right. Like engaging and giving us the dirt.
And the dirt. Yeah. Yeah. And so we watched it and we talked about it and this and that. So I have a dream that night. And we are in the first house that we ever had. I'm in the house and I'm by myself in one of these rooms. And I look out the window and it's raining. It's like a flood, is coming. And so I start panicking and I can see these eyeballs coming up out of the water. It's alligators.
Oh my God.
I know. And the water is rising around the house. It's raining. The alligator eyes, they're coming closer. The walls start developing these black bruises. Ew. Like the plague, right? And I'm in there by myself and I'm like, panicking. We got Noah's flood. The crocodiles are coming, the bubonic plague in the walls. Okay. And then Eric opens the door and he's young and slender and he has on this beautiful silk suit. And he says, Lauren, I'd like to introduce you to my date. And you're dating. And he says,
your wife in Armageddon right now.
And you're dating somebody. Oh my, he says, I'd like to introduce you to Chicken Little. His date was named Chicken Little. The sky is falling. The sky.
Exactly. The sky is raining alligators and plagues.
I was like, you smart ass.
Was there a person there?
Yes. She was a young, cute woman. Isn't that hilarious?
Like, what were you trying to work through?
I know. Well, it was jealousy and catastrophizing, but also knowing that you're just making crap up.
Right.
To scare yourself. He's not going anywhere.
The sky really isn't falling, but.
So I love that dream.
Oh, that is a good one.
Yeah. So I was frumious.
Okay, don't hurt yourself.
This was one of the first things I thought of when we saw Frumious. There is this YouTube of this guy who some hunters spray themselves with female deer urine in order to attract the bucks.
Oh.
But you spray them, you're supposed to spray it on, around your blind or, so the bucks will come. This jackass sprayed it on his clothing. So, which it says, don't do. And I think that's probably why I did it, because it said, don't do that on the bottle. So he's like, hey, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Oh, dear.
So he asked his wife to videotape it or tape it. And this gorgeous buck with this huge, antlers and comes pounding into the clearing, and they'd seen him coming. So they're set up that he's, and the buck runs right up to him and smells him. And the guy's trying to get his gun ready, and everything. And the buck realizes it's a human, and he rears up on his back legs, and starts hammering the guy with his front hooves. He's beating the shit out of this guy. He's dropping his gun. He's falling to the ground. He's yelling at his wife, keep filming.
Okay, that's ridiculous. I do not have that in mind what are the names for deers and bucks? I forget there's a term for that kind of mammal, but when they're attacking me with their hooves, I'm not thinking of YouTube.
Keep filming. And so she's going, Jesus Christ, oh my God, oh, okay. And she's still filming. And then it just goes black.
It's like Blair Witch. Do we know what happened? Do we know what happened?
I don't know if the buck was like, okay, man, you want me? I'm taking you. Or, I don't know.
You're not my lady. I'm going to stomp on you. Jeez.
I know. So I thought, well, that buck and he's so big and glorious, and he's just jamming this guy.
And we don't know how it went for him.
I don't. And I don't think, a head injury would have made much difference, because the guy obviously is not that bright.
Maybe it had not been his first stampede. his first mauling.
This is way better than last year.
Remember the one with a herd of elephants? When I put the elephant shit on me in Thailand? Jeez.